and hello from Aotearoa, New Zealand. This is Glennis from the Key of Truth Academy, and in today's series I'm going to talk about how to access your spiritual guidance. And some have said that this is new and it's difficult or hard to contact spirit. However, we are all spiritual beings first, and we are all connected to spirit. What blocks us is our beliefs. What blocks us is what society tells us about those beliefs, and what society tells us is normal or not normal. We actually all can talk to spirit, and we actually have all heard from spirit at some point in time in our lives. We just didn't recognize it at the time. So first you've got to get over that attitude that there's something wrong with it, that spirit is something weird that we shouldn't tamper with. It's who we are. We are spirit first and foremost. That's why we're born with our spirit into our body, and then we leave at the end. So in actual fact, it's completely normal to hear from spirit, to speak to spirit, and to see spirits. There's only a thin veil between the physical reality and the spiritual reality, and it's always been that way. It's only the fear, or what we've been taught, that stops us from believing that it's okay. It's okay to see spirits, it's okay to talk to spirit, and it's okay to figure out how to access your spiritual guidance. In fact, because the energies have been so intense, and because everyone's waking up to their new mind, body, spirit, it's actually essential now at this point in time to start learning how to access your spiritual guidance. And so first and foremost, understand that no matter what you grew up with, and no matter what happened in your life and in your family, it's okay and it is normal to be able to contact spirit. It might not have before, but it is. Once you can accept that it's okay to talk to spirit, the other thing you have to learn is that we all have spiritual guides. Who and what those spiritual guides are will depend on what level of belief you're able to accept. Because we actually live in a multi-dimensional universe, and there's limitless amounts of dimensions, of planets, of beings everywhere. However, here on Earth, we have a particular belief system that we're surrounded by family, friends, angels, guides, guardians. And that's true. There's also other beings out there too, which I won't go into. Many are stuck in the Christian belief where you aren't supposed to speak to spirits, and there's only God and the angels and Satan and the demons, and that's all there is. So before we even get into how to access your spiritual guidance, it's kind of take time to review your beliefs about what you think is or isn't possible, or what you think is or isn't acceptable in your potentially religious experience or lack thereof, or spiritual experience or lack thereof. So you can't start to speak to spirit if you don't really know what you believe in. Many have spiritual guides, and they can be a group of different genders, different roles, different nationality looking type beings, or they can be beings you've never seen before. It doesn't matter what guide you see, they'll be the ones that are right for you, or the ones that you feel or that you hear from. They'll be the ones that are right for you. So you can trust that that's what's meant to be. The way that you can trust what you're hearing from spirit is how you feel. So it's not just about talking and listening, it's also about the sensory experience of your 5 senses. Sight, touch, hearing, smell, and feel. No taste. I had to think for a second there. How do you feel when you're speaking to these spirits, around these spirits, or whether you can see these spirits? Everyone's got different abilities. If you feel clear, if you feel light, if you feel safe, if you feel okay, even if you're like a bit worried, you're not too sure what's going on, if you tune into your gut and think to yourself, feel into your gut, how do I feel about this? If you feel okay and if you feel clear, then that's a sign that it's okay. If you ever feel in your gut that something's not right, that this being doesn't have good intentions, then listen to that. Okay, so now that we've got that out the way, it's about asking questions and listening. So when you're with somebody, depends who it is, depends what the interaction's about. Hello, if it's a stranger, hello, how are you? What are you up to? Where you come from? What do you do? And basic questions. If you ever come across a spirit that you don't know, just ask those basic questions. However, when you're wanting to tune into your spiritual guidance, that's a different process, and the reason is because a part of you is trying to connect into not only spirit but to your own higher self consciousness. And if you've never done this before, it just takes practice. It's not impossible, but it's better when you have a framework to follow. When you don't even know what you're looking for or how to ask, then it's a lot harder. So I'm going to go into the framework in the next video. When you're speaking with spirit and you feel clear and light and free, then you can continue making communication. If you're ever with beings and you feel afraid or something's wrong or that something is lying to you, then you will be right also. And in that case, you ask them to leave, either politely or as firmly as you possibly want to. So there is a level of spirits who do not have your best interests at heart, but you can feel it. You know when someone's lying to you. You know when someone doesn't feel good, or you get a bad vibe from people. It's the same with spirits. Just because they don't have a physical body is what's making everybody afraid. But we all have a spirit inside our physical bodies. Any spirits just don't have a physical body, but it's the same interaction. Ask questions, listen in, feel into the vibe. If it's good, keep going. If it's not good, end the conversation. The framework for asking to access your spiritual guidance is to ask a set of questions, which is what, how, when, where, which is easy to ask like that. However, every situation is different. There's different people, there's different things, there's different questions to be asked. And so those are the basic questions. When you're asking to access your spiritual guidance, all you do is ask a question and listen. For example, what is my life purpose? You might say that and get nothing. And so you might think, oh, this isn't going to work. However, what it's about is that you're not in the practice of hearing the answers. First, you've got to ask a question, and then you've got to hear an answer. So I'll talk more in the next video. So when you're accessing your spiritual guidance, you're asking questions. And I'm going to use the example, what is your life purpose, in this series, just to have one question to use an example. So ask the question, what is my life purpose? You might not get anything now. Okay, well then repeat it. And repeat it as often as you can, and listen as best as you can. Now, when it comes to listening to spiritual messages, you have to understand and learn how to translate and discern the messages. You have to learn how to hear the messages. Messages from spirit don't necessarily come in one sentence in a voice, such as, your life purpose is to go and heal animals in farms. You might not hear that voice straight away. So you've got to ask again. So when you ask again, what is my life purpose? And you hear nothing from spirit, just keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. What happens is that spirit sends messages in all sorts of ways, not just in a voice in your head. They might send the answer to you in a book, in a movie, in something that you see in nature, in some random thought that comes into your head at the middle of the night, or when you're in the shower, or some person says something to you that jogs your memory, that reminds you of something, that gives you some kind of answer. Or it may be you're completely absorbed in some other task and some answer comes through. Now, some people have said that they're getting nothing, and that's likely not true. What's mostly happening is that you're likely not picking up on the answers that you're being given, not recognizing that those are the answers. So recognizing the answers is really about taking notice, being conscious, being aware. And that's harder to do when you don't know what you're looking for. Okay, so ask the question, what is my life purpose? Look at what's in your life and look at what you've done and look at what you want to do and look at what happens in the next few days as you continue to ask this question. What is my life purpose? What is my life purpose? What is my life purpose? And if you think about it, what have you always been interested in? What have you always wanted to do? What have you always felt like you'd love to do? Something random or something that's always been on your mind, something that you always go back to, something that you always think about in your spare time when there's nothing else to do, you always go back to this topic. And one of the things for me is ancient cultures just fascinate me, always have. And so that was one of my clues. So let's run with this example of what is my life purpose. Maybe you've had a thought. Remember when you had played with fairies when you were young? If you can remember to recognize and realize that that's an answer, then you can start thinking, oh, okay, right, I asked what's my life purpose. I had this thought that I saw fairies as a child. I remember that now. And so how could that be related to my life purpose? Maybe I'm meant to work with fairies. Am I meant to do fairy card readings? Am I meant to do, like, make fairy houses? Am I meant to draw fairies? So then you can start asking around that answer. What does that memory have to do with the question that you asked? So you're constantly trying to make connections between what you're asking and what you're seeing and what you're sensing around, oh, this is an answer. Oh, okay, I'll keep asking until I get clear about it. So when you ask guidance for spirit, you don't just ask a question and then go, oh, well, that's it. I didn't hear anything. I can't hear from spirit. Oh, no. No, no, no. Your job's just begun. What you then have to do, as I've already said, is go and put your eyes on for anything and everything that comes up in the next few days, as well as keep asking. Any note or ad or book or verse, a scripture, or a random picture that you see driving past a shop that shows you something. What you're looking for is this moment of recognition, which is, oh, yeah, like a light bulb moment. And you go, that's something that's I've always been interested in. Oh, I remember now. So that's what you're looking for. So when you ask for spirit guidance and you start looking around you wherever you're going all day, every day, at things that could possibly be the answer, in fact, you'll notice that spirit will be sending you answers in all manner of ways. It's just that you're not picking them up. It could be random thoughts like, oh, remember when you were a kid and you used to see fairies? And you might go, oh, so? And carry on with your task. That was one of your answers, and you've completely missed it. And so this is what I hear has been happening, is that everyone's getting their answers, but you're not recognizing that it's an answer to your question because you're not focused on it. You're not consciously being aware that that is an answer. And so you are hearing from spirit, all of us are, but you may not be picking up on the answers that upstairs are trying to send you. And I think that's what's been going on. So you're asking questions about how you saw fairies as a child. And then you could think, I love fairies. I haven't played with fairies or talked to fairies for ages. Maybe I should do a meditation with a fairy music or watch somebody who does, or get a fairy card reading. You know, what can I do to follow through on this piece of information that I've gotten to learn more? So let's just roll with the example of you'll go and get a tarot card reading from a lady who does fairy card readings. So you go there and you get that information and you take that information, you come home and you think, okay, so she told me this and she told me that. How does this connect to my question on what's my life purpose? You know what, actually I really do miss having fairies. Maybe I should buy some fairy pictures and some fairy outfits or whatever it is. And so maybe you go and do that. So now you've got to the point of taking some action. You've got a fairy card reading, you've got some clothes or some pictures, And then one day you might hear out of the clear blue sky, oh, you should start doing fairy card readings. And then you might think, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm not spiritual. Well, I'm sorry to say, but that excuse is out the window, mate. Now, it's just not true. All of us are spiritual, okay? Get that out of your head. There has to be special spiritual people to be able to talk to spirit. No, not anymore. All of us have access and all of us are able to connect to spirit. Get that into your heads. If you're on my channel, then you're spiritual. Even if I see some of your videos, mate, not quite too sure why you're following me. But anyway, if you're watching this video, you are spiritual. You can talk to spirit and spirit can talk to you, okay? Let's just get that straight. Okay, so in our example, maybe you've decided to try fairy card readings. You buy the fairy cards and then you start asking spirit, oh, you know, what do I do? I'm not too sure how to do readings. And maybe you just get the cards and just start practicing with yourself and start listening to the answers. Now, when you start listening to spirit answers, you're not going to get it right first off. Nobody does. It takes practice and time. So some people hear voices in their head, but not everyone. Some people feel the answers like a gut knowing in their stomach. Other people have to take action. Other people see things or notice the messages that are coming within their world. Might be a TikTok video. I think there's a lot of that going on at the moment, or even a YouTube video. The answers to your questions can come in many, many different forms now, especially in our electronic world. So pay attention after you ask a question to the answers that you're getting, because those will be contributing to your answers. So let's say you've asked a question and then you're looking around for the answers, and maybe you've gotten a bit of a song here or a book there or someone said something here. It's about putting those answers together in your mind. First you've got to take notice of it, and then you've got to connect it all up together. What does it mean? So the process of asking questions is asking, what is this? What does it mean to me? How does this relate to that part? Or this answer, or that thing that I saw, or this message? And this might seem a bit weird to you, but it's actually the way that you process the answers that you're hearing. Why did I see that? How does that matter to me? Why does that happen? Why did this happen? Why did I go here? Why did I do that? And asking questions is the only way that you're going to get answers. If you don't ask questions, you won't get any answers. And let's say you've asked some questions and you've got some answers, and then you don't really know what they mean. So ask questions about the answers that you're getting. Why did I hear that song? What is in that song that should repeat itself to me over and over and over again? Here's why things repeat. There's a message for you. There's a lesson you haven't learnt. If the song keeps repeating in your head, or you keep hearing it over and over again, go and get those lyrics. Read the lyrics. See what the lyrics mean. Ask, how does this relate to me in my life? What do I think of this? What does this remind me of? How does this connect to what I'm asking, to my life purpose? This song that's repeating in my mind. And so this is how you start to get your guidance from spirit. It's not just ask one question and you get all of those answers all in the one blast, like a great big download. It's about you putting in the work as well. This is what's happening. The energy is increasing, and so we're needing to learn new ways of communicating.